Ahoy, mateys! Welcome to the 8th episode of Rogue Advice. Two more, or three more, and we hit 10. 8, 9, 10. No, two more after this, we'll hit 10. We are a D&D TTRPG sports and everything podcast. What began as Bard Advice, where you the viewers send in your questions to me, and I, along with the chat, try to answer them. I am your host. You may know me as the Rogue, the Pirate Archaeologist, Pirate. Some call me Chris. At the top of our show, I would like to take this time to welcome in all of our regulars, River, Puffy Cheeto, James, the Council of Chris, Ron, Ruby, Kirk, all of y'all. I couldn't do this without you guys. And welcoming in all individuals joining for the first stream. Would also like to remind everyone to please like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, rate the podcast, and if you haven't already, please join the Discord, where you find interesting things going on, like a poll I put up today. You don't get to vote in a poll if you don't join the Discord. And I'm sure River has already posted a link to the Discord. Thank you, River. There will be no Archaeology Corner tonight, only because tonight's show is just so jam-packed with questions. No, I lied. Just right there. It's not jam-packed with questions. As a matter of fact, there's only 5. However, of those 5 questions, 3 have extremely long answers. The other 2, well, they're both fun. And 1 will lead us into chat. We also want to remind everybody that the email address for the podcast to send in your questions is roguebardadvice@gmail.com. That looks like roguebardadvice@gmail.com. We also want to, tonight, continue to plug Hexwood Creations. From dice boxes to towers to dice coffins and more. The items they create make wonderful gifts for any time of year, from birthdays to holidays. Find Hexwood Creations on Facebook. Now, shall we get into questions, or should we say hello to everybody in chat? Let's see what chat's doing right now, and then we'll get into questions. River, hello everyone. This is your deranged necromancer. Wishes you all well. Kirk was here hours ago. I still don't know how chat here is available faster than chat was available for Bard Advice. But we will find that out momentarily. And I do want to apologize to everybody. I am not in my pirate costume tonight. My pirate costume is right here, however. So it is here in spirit, including the tricorn hat. So I know I said I'd be in pirate costume for the rest of Rogue Advice. I just had some things going on before and I couldn't get into costume. Happy Friday, Puffy Cheeto. Make sure to like the video while you're watching. Yes, Puffy, we're trying to. We are all Chris here, Kirk Wagner. Yes, I like that. New YouTube live rules, maybe? I don't know, Rose. I have no idea. So, plaid is tartan is Scottish, Scots can be pirates. Okay. I got it. I do have a little Scot in me. Scot, Irish, German. So, yeah, I'll take it. But, how about them questions? Our first question tonight is from our very own and lovely Amanda, otherwise known as Puffy Cheeto. Now, I had this question ready to go last week, but Amanda was sick, couldn't make the pod, so she asked me to wait until this week to answer it. So, without further ado, Amanda asks... Nope, Amanda doesn't ask that. Amanda asks, "Hey pirate, hope your week is going well. Got a piratey question for you, matey. Who is ye favorite pirate in history?" I was thinking about this, Amanda, and I was asking myself, does she mean in history or in fiction history? Because they're two separate entities. so I answered them both. My favorite pirate in fiction is none other than James McGraw, otherwise known as Captain James Flint, who is only mentioned in R.L. Stevenson's Treasure Island. And he's only come to life in the TV series Black Sails, which I just spent like a week, and I binged watched all 4 seasons of Black Sails. It ran on Stars from 2014 to 2017, and you can catch it on Tubi, all 4 seasons on Tubi right now. It follows Captain Flint, Long John Silver, and William Billy Bones 20 years prior to the events of Treasure Island. Taking the taking of Nassau, the adventures that they go on, and it's a great. Black Sails is a great TV show. But my most favorite pirate in all of history, of all time, was a pirate for 2 years on the sea. He was a pirate for 2 years. He was on the sea longer than that, but he was a pirate for 2 years. He commandeered a French ship called La Concorde, modified her with 40 plus cannons and other implements of destruction, and rechristened her as the QAR. Now, for people who don't know what the QAR is, the QAR stands for the Queen Anne's Revenge. And that pirate is none other than Edward Teach. Could this be his real name? Could this not be his real name? We don't know. There are many theories that say this is not his real name. However, he goes by the moniker of Blackbeard because he had a big, giant black beard. Anyway, he was a fearsome pirate on the high seas and in the Caribbean. And his ship sank off the coast of North Carolina, which they have actually found, and they are trying to either document and resurrect or document and leave it in place. I also had reservations about my picks for my favorite pirate. I weighed the options, and I am satisfied with these picks. I thought about one of my other favorite pirates, Wesley, the Dread Pirate Roberts. But while I like Cariolis, was Wesley a real pirate though? And then I thought about Captain Jack Sparrow. But he in turn come to find out it was based on a real pirate named John Ward, or Jack Ward. But also, too many people know Jack Sparrow, and I like obscurities. But my favorite historically was a no-brainer. Blackbeard, Edward Teach, Queen Anne's Revenge, one of the fastest ships in the Caribbean of the era. Yes, it was a French ship called La Concorde that he basically commandeered and stole. But yeah, I hope that answers your question, and I hope it brings you closer to knowing who I am as a pirate. And thanks for the question. Let's see what's going on in your chat with who chat's favorite pirate is. I did answer them both, Puffy. Rose like Dread Pirate Roberts. Dread Pirate Roberts, Rose, is from The Princess Bride. Sir Francis Drake is the best privateer pirate. Okay. I won't hold that against you. North Carolina, so what you're saying is road trip. Well, if all works out. Now, I have some news this evening for good things of the week. So, with that being said, if everything works out in May, or for May, and I'm able to go to the Norse Forge Gathering 5, which I'm going to start promoting more of Norse Forge here next show. Let me get in touch with the creators of the Norse Forge Gathering to make sure I can. But I want to plug them. The Norse Forge Gathering is a gathering of nerds and gamers alike, and there's going to be a lot to do there. And it's going to happen in Camp Barnard in North Carolina, Boy Scout Camp. 12,000 square acres of woods that we have for 3 days. Which is not, it's in New London, North Carolina, so it's not that far from the coast, from Myrtle Beach, but it's still a drive. So maybe, if I have time. I don't know that I will have time because getting 3 days off from what I'm about to explain in Good Things of the Week may be difficult. So, or may not be difficult, but may be a hard limit. So, it may be Grace O'Malley is River's favorite pirate. Are we allowed crews, not just the single pirates? If so, my vote is for the Straw Hat Pirates. Well, you could have Luffy. Luffy is the head pirate of that cruise ship, of that pirate ship. But I will allow Straw Hat Pirates. My favorite pirate who will be whoever sneaks aboard the ISS and refuses to let it be retired. Unfortunately, Kirk, as much as I would love to be that pirate, because then I could be the space pirate archaeologist. And if you've seen my space tourism video on here for my class, you'll understand that reference. The ISS is actually in a orbit of decay, so chances of it coming out of retirement before it falls to the ground is not very good. It'll retire and then they'll let it fall to the ground because of its rate of decay. But I like that. I would rather be a space pirate on the Firefly, or on the Rocinante, or something from what is it? It's Rocinante, but it's from an Amazon TV series. So bring up a bunch of Estes model rocket engines. A lot of that. Not so many as you'd think. I mean, because there's no atmosphere in Space, Kirk, and I studied a bit of astronomy and I did rocketry and everything else when I was a kid because I really wanted to be an astronaut. You'd only need a few, and it's not. It's all because of there's thin atmosphere up there. Not even really an atmosphere, but once you get something pushed in one direction, the laws of physics take place. An object in motion stays in motion until acted upon by an outside force. Sorry, I have to drink a lot of water tonight. Before, and this was another reason I didn't get changed today. About a half hour before the pod started, I was sitting in my chair, just relaxing, and all of a sudden I had extreme high heart palpitations. I'm not going to reveal my numbers because they were extremely high. And I am chalking it up to a dehydration incident. I have had very little water today, but I don't feel dehydrated. So, and I know you can't. Yeah, I know you don't necessarily have to feel dehydrated to be dehydrated. So I am going to be drinking a lot of water tonight. The Expanse, Ron. Thank you. The Expanse. Yeah, I'd like to crew either the Firefly or the Rose. But yeah, so there's that. So we went from Caribbean pirates to space piracy, all in one question. Thank you, Amanda. I absolutely love going on road tangents like this. But with that, we do have to continue moving forward because if we do not, we will not have time to answer the other 4 questions that we have. Our second question tonight comes from our very own Necromancer, and you guys probably saw a little tidbit of it when I mixed up the slides. I just mixed up the numbering on the slides, that's all. But I've got a little blurb to say about this before I get into the question. It comes from our very own Necromancer, River, and River is starting to become the new council. I don't think we've had many questions from any Chris, although Amanda is an honorary Council of Chris member. Her name is not actually Chris. So we need more questions from Chris's out there. So for now, it wouldn't be a show without at least one question from our very good friend and very good necromancer, River. And River asks, what would your ideal meal be if you were on death row? That's a great question, River. And I had to do some digging on this one, as I wanted to give facts. First, if I were on death row, it would have to matter what state I was on death row in, or if I was in federal prison on death row. I say this because 3 states, Florida, Oklahoma, and Texas, limit the final meal of death row inmates to the following restrictions. Florida limits it to no more than $40. Oklahoma, no more than $25. And Texas, you get whatever the cafeteria is serving that day. There are at least 21 states, or there are 21 states that don't have the death penalty, and 27 that do have the death penalty, but say the meal must be reasonable. Now, for the sake of argument, say I had an unlimited budget and the meal request does not have to be reasonable. That's how I'm going. That's the direction I'm going when I answered this question. Okay? Now, for the appetizers, I will have beluga caviar served with Bellini, creme fraiche, and finely chopped shallots. A foie gras torchon, rich and creamy foie gras served with brioche toast and a fig compote. The soup will be bird's nest soup, a luxurious soup made with edible bird's nest, highly prized in Chinese cuisine for its texture and supposed health benefits. Look, if I'm having a last meal, I'm going all out. For the salad, it's going to be a golden leaf salad, which is a mix of baby greens, edible gold leaf, and truffle vinaigrette. The main course will be Kobe beef steak, an A5 grade Wagyu beef steak cooked to perfection and served with a side of white truffle mashed potatoes and sautéed wild mushrooms. Followed by fugu sashimi, thinly sliced pufferfish, which is a delicacy that requires careful preparation due to its potentially lethal toxins. But look, if I'm going to die on death row the very next day, then I don't care about the lethal toxins. Cut it however you want. The seafood platter is going to be bluefin tuna toro, the most prized part of the tuna, known for its rich and buttery texture. With Alaskan king crab legs, steamed and served with drawn butter and lemon wedges, and lobster thermidor, a classic French dish with a creamy and decadent lobster filling. For dessert, it's going to be jellyfish ice cream, a novelty ice cream made with jellyfish collagen, known for its unique texture, and a donut covered in gold leaf, a fluffy and decadent donut entirely covered in edible gold leaf and filled with rich vanilla custard. For the beverages, I'm going to have Kopi Luwak coffee, which is one of the world's most expensive coffees. It's made from beans that have been eaten and excreted by civet cats. Excreted, for those who aren't in the know, is it's pooped out. And then followed by a vintage champagne, a bottle of the finest vintage champagne to celebrate the final moments. Now, my vintage champagne will have to be like 50 to 100 years old. That's the only way I'm going to drink vintage champagne. Because obviously it's like a $100, $200, $300,000 bottle. So with that makes for an interesting and delicious sounding question, River, and I thank you for that. Let's see what chat's saying, because I see the chat scrolling, so I want to see what chat's saying. Rose, so the meal can't be a Shamrock Shake and McRib at the same time, and therefore will delay your death. Uh, it could be. It could be because remember, it has to be reasonable. So, or costs less than $40 in Florida and less than $25 in the state of Oklahoma. Texas, no, you can't have that in Texas. River's not complaining. He's just cracking up at the detail I go into with the mean questions that he sends in. I love going into great detail, and if I don't go into great detail, I don't have a lot of content. So detail, and look, I'm an archaeologist. We pay attention to details, okay? And remember that, because the next question has to do with that. So remember, I pay attention to details. Puffy Cheeto would want a plate of spaghetti with her family's made from scratch sauce, a milkshake made from sweet corn, and cheesecake ice cream, a good cup of coffee, lots of cream, and a Shipley's donut. Okay. That'll probably cost you about $40 in the state of Florida, so you're still good. But in Texas, where you're from, you get whatever's served in the cafeteria. So let's just hope they're serving a plate of spaghetti with your family's made from scratch sauce, a milkshake made from sweet cream and cheesecake ice cream, and a cup of good coffee and Shipley's donuts. But chances are, because prison systems in Texas are not that good, they're not serving that. Kirk was actually gifted some of the Kopi Luwak coffee. I've never tried it. The first time I was ever introduced to Kopi Luwak coffee was in the movie, somebody help me out here, Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson, and it's called Bucket List. I got to it before the chat did. Yukai lover, probably classic mac and cheese or something like it. Has to be gluten and dairy free, so I want to have something I haven't had in years and wouldn't have to deal with it time after effects. I'll tell you this. If my wife was on death row, her last meal would consist entirely of chocolate-covered strawberries, made with real cocoa, not fake cocoa, and oranges, true oranges and orange slices and all that. Because she wouldn't make it to the injection chamber because she is deathly allergic to strawberries, real chocolate, and citrus fruits. So she would go into anaphylactic shock right there immediately. She would use that to axe herself right there in prison. But that's what her last meal would be. River would be a back double cheeseburger with pile of fries, some fried chicken, crab rangoon, some beef lo mein, a big ass strawberry shake, a Bunt Basque cheesecake with blackberry compote, and a peach pie. Okay, I like it. Baja Blast and Dr. Pepper to drink. Obviously, got to have the Dr. Pepper. Obviously, got to have the Dr. Pepper. There is a woman who is like in her 90s. I want to say 90s. She's outlived all of her doctors. And I just saw a video about it the other day. She's drank 2 Dr. Peppers her entire life, every day for her entire life. Or no, 3 Dr. Peppers every day for her entire life. And the doctors said that that's going to kill you. And she's outlived every single one of them that has said that. So, Dr. Pepper might not be the way you want to go, River. I know it tastes good, but Dr. Pepper saves lives. Cheat the executioner by having something you are deathly allergic to. That's what I just said, Ron. With my wife. River, brevity is not his strong suit. Apparently it makes me a good DM when I need to set the scene. Okay. Again, that will fall into the next question. I guarantee it. Puffy Cheeto worked at a prison here for over a year. It's definitely a mess in there. Yeah. River's last meal would be a gallon of ice cream and some tiramisu. Okay. Realistically, Cats would take a tomahawk stock, rare, mashed potatoes, gravy, and corn on the cob. Peach cobbler with vanilla ice cream for dessert, with a glass of sun tea to wash it down. Sun tea. I miss sun tea. Dr. Pepper may stop lethal injection, but firing squad. There is actually like now, I want to say, who was it? Utah or Colorado just passed a bill, passed into law that gave you the right to choose lethal injection or firing squad for mode of death. So there you go. Montana still has hangings on their list of legal ways of execution. So if you want to go out pirate style, go to Montana. River wants to ride the lightning. Yes. Okay. With that, wow, we've only got 2 questions in, and we're at 9:30. Look at that. With that, we're moving on to our 3rd question, and it comes from our bard to the south, Chaz, or Yazik if you prefer. Now Yazik asks, no, that's not Yazik. Where's Yazik's question? Where's Yazik's question? Did I not put Yazik's question in here? I did not put Yazik's question in the list of questions. So I'm just going to read it out to y'all. Sorry about that, Chaz. I have to pull it up real quick, though. Chaz asks, if you could make... No, that's not it. Have you found in your background with your career in archaeology is helpful in coming up with locations or artifacts for TTRPGs? Thanks for the question, Chaz. Sorry about there not being a slide for that. I thought there was a slide for that. I hope this answer is helpful for you. Now, while I have not actually played a D&D campaign since I became an archaeologist, I am creating one that will hopefully be ready soon that has a bit of archaeology and mystery and stuff like that into it. So while I haven't actually partaken in the following, I did write some things down that are relevant to the question. First, absolutely, a background in archaeology can be extremely helpful when creating locations and artifacts for tabletop role-playing RPGs. And here's why and how. Why? 1, you get historical accuracy. Archaeologists have a deep understanding of different cultures, historical periods, and the evolution of human societies. This can help create more accurate and believable settings and artifacts. For example, when creating a campaign set in the ancient ruins of Nethril, an archaeologist's knowledge of ancient civilizations can help accurately depict the society, culture, and technological advances of the Netherese Empire. Detail and authenticity. Archaeology focuses on the minute details of artifacts and locations. This attention to detail can make your TTRPG world richer and more immersive. For example, when detailing the Sword Coast, an archaeologist can provide intricate details about the architecture, artifacts, and daily life that makes cities like Waterdeep and Baldur's Gate come to life. Storytelling. Archaeologists often interpret the past through the material remains that they study. This skill in constructing narratives from evidence can enhance your game's plot and depth. For example, archaeologists interpret the past through material remains. In Faerun, they might uncover a forgotten artifact of Myth Draenor that reveals clues about the fall of the Elven City, adding depth to the story. And 4, inspiration. Real-world archaeological discoveries can serve as inspiration for unique and intriguing game elements. Example, real-world discoveries like the Terracotta Army could inspire the creation of an ancient army of golems in Thay, offering a unique twist for players to encounter. And by how? Creating locations. The use of knowledge of ancient civilizations and historical sites to design cities, temples, ruins, and other locations. Consider the layout, architecture, and purpose of these places based on real-world examples. For example, use the knowledge of ancient ruins to design a campaign around the city of Omu in Cholt, incorporating elements like crumbling ziggurats, overgrown temples, and intricate traps that reflect real-world archaeological sites. Designing artifacts. Draw from various cultural artifacts such as pottery, weapons, jewelry, and tools. Each artifact can have a history and significance that adds to the game's lore. For example, create detailed and culturally significant artifacts, like a Netherese Arcanist staff that has inscriptions detailing lost spells. Each artifact can have a backstory tied to Faerun's history, enhancing the lore. And just like my campaign that I'm building, I'm using fictional artifacts from a TV series to enhance my story in Faerun. Integrating history. Incorporate historical events and societal changes into your game's backstory. This can provide a framework for quests, conflicts, and character motivations. Example, incorporate historical events such as Time of Troubles in your game's backstory. This could provide a framework for quests like uncovering ancient temples desecrated during the chaos of the gods' fall. Developing cultures. Use insights into ancient cultures to create diverse and complex societies within your game. Consider aspects like social hierarchy, religious practices, and daily life. Use insights into ancient cultures to create diverse societies within Faerun. For example, understanding the social hierarchy and religious practices of the Drow in Menzo Baranzan can add depth to interactions and conflicts. And solving puzzles. Archaeologists often piece together clues to understand the past. This skill can translate into creating engaging puzzles and mysteries for players to solve. For example, archaeologists often place puzzles and clues from fragmented artifacts. In Faerun, you can create puzzles where players must assemble parts of an ancient Netherese artifact to unlock a magical barrier or reveal hidden lore. In short, archaeology can greatly enhance the depth, authenticity, and engagement of your TTRPG, making it more compelling and immersive experience to your players. Hopefully this answers your question, and knowing how good of a storyteller you are, I'm pretty sure you already do most of the suggestions within your game. But I do hope this also makes you look at your games in a different light. Maybe bringing in a bit of real-world lore, kind of like your one-shots, in an actual full-blown campaign. Again, thanks for the question, Chaz, and I hope that answers it, coming from an archaeologist. All right, that was. I apologize for not having the slide for that again. However, we do have the slide for the next one, and the next one comes from our good friend Kirk. And Kirk asks, "I see us heading down the road towards a Mad Max style dystopic future, but I really had my heart set on a more Blade Runner sort of thing. Is there anything I can do at this point to change our world's path going forward?" Great question, Kirk, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people asking the same question. However, I hope this answers it for you. I know you mentioned Mad Max and we're hoping for Blade Runner. I decided to take it a bit further and give you a list of 7 more dystopian futures that we could be headed towards, and their differences, and followed up by which ones the United States is currently facing, and the ways you as an individual can combat them from possibly becoming our inevitable future. Now, remember, these are rogue answers, not a wizard, or a paladin, or a monk, or a cleric. A barbarian might agree to at least some, but a wizard would just throw a fireball at it. So here you go. Mad Max series. Post-apocalyptic wasteland in Australia. For our Australian viewers, I don't know if we have any, but for our Australian viewers, this one's for you guys. The key features of that dystopian society was the scarcity of resources, especially water and fuel. And society has collapsed into barbarism, with tribes and gangs fighting for survival. The difference is it focused on the breakdown of society and the struggle for basic survival in an almost lawless world. The Blade Runner series, future Los Angeles. For those of you still living in California and the wildfires, this might be more your style. Though, one I would more apt to say for your guys' style there in Los Angeles currently would be Escape from LA, which is not on this list, by the way. The key features were advanced technology, replicants, which are bioengineered beings, oppressive mega corporations, and environmental degradation. The difference is it explores themes of identity, humanity, and morality in a high-tech but decaying urban environment. And right now, we don't have, in the United States, we don't have themes of identity, humanity, or morality. The Hunger series, or the Hunger Games series, setting Pan Am, which is basically the United States, which is a nation divided into districts controlled by a totalitarian capital, which we are falling into. Key features: extreme socioeconomic inequality, televised gladiatorial combat, and rebellion. Centers on the political and social oppression of districts and the spectacle of the Hunger Games as a means of control. Now, while we have not slid into this, we definitely could possibly. I don't know. If we do slide into something like that, I picture it more like the TV series Revolution. But that's just me. 4. I've not seen this one, but it stuck out to me. The Road. Setting, post-apocalyptic America. Key features, desolate and barren landscapes, extreme scarcity of food, and human desperation. While we don't have scarcity of food or human desperation yet, I fear it's coming. It focuses on the relationship between a father and son as they navigate a dying world, highlighting the collapse of civilization. We are definitely on the verge of a civilization collapse. As an archaeologist, I can tell you that's happening. 1984 by George Orwell. Society Oceania, a superstate under constant surveillance and totalitarian control. Key features is thought control, pervasive government propaganda, and loss of individual freedom, which we have quite a bit currently. Differences emphasizes the psychological and social manipulation by a totalitarian regime to maintain power. That's happening. Number 6, the Matrix series. Dystopian future where humans are unknowingly trapped in a simulated reality controlled by intelligent machines. We may be in the Matrix. Who knows? Key features: virtual reality, rebellion against machine overlords, and the nature of reality. The difference is it explores the concept of reality and human agency in the face of technological domination. While we aren't technically being dominated by technology yet, we do have Elon Tusk. I'm stealing that, Chaz. Elon Tusk. 7. Children of Men. Its setting is a near future Britain for all of our British viewers. I don't know if we have any, but for all of our British viewers, here you go. Setting is near future Britain where humans face extinction due to global infertility. Key features: societal collapse, totalitarian government, and a refugee crisis. Difference is it centers on themes of hope, survival, and the consequences of dwindling human population. I don't see human population dwindling so far, but it's only a matter of time. And our final dystopian future, RoboCop 3. Setting, future Detroit, suffering from corporate control and social decay. Now, we definitely have corporate control, and we definitely have social decay. Excuse me. Its key features is corporations seek to demolish neighborhoods to create new cities, enforcing their will through advanced robotics and militarized police forces. The difference is it focuses on corporate greed, the militarization of law enforcement, and the struggle of citizens against oppressive corporate power. Now, what is currently being represented, or what challenges are currently being represented in the United States. 1984, increasing concerns about surveillance, data privacy, and government control. I mean, just look what the government wanted to do with the clock app. The Hunger Games, socioeconomic inequality, and the divide between the wealthy and the poor. That divide is only going to get larger, especially with all the firings that happened this past week, or not this past week, but the end of last week and this past week in the federal government system. And RoboCop 3, corporate influence and privatization of public services, and the militarization of law enforcement. And if you don't understand the privatization of public services, you just have to look at the future of the United States Postal Service that the current administration is writing up an executive order to have it fall under the Commerce Department and then make it privatized. They were trying to do that the last administration, or the last time this administration was in power. They're going to try and do it again. So I hope that answers your question, River, or Kirk. And I see the chat moving, and chat's blowing up. So we're going to go over to chat and see what we've got. Oh, Chaz is in the chat. Chaz, I apologized to you earlier. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you for coming. I did answer a question of yours. You will have to go watch the video later. I thought I had, like I said, I thought I had a slide for it. I did not. I still answered it anyway. So River, we are a constitutional republic on the inception of this country, but now we're more like a corporate oligarchy. Yes, we are. So cyberpunk seems very likely, assuming we don't kill ourselves via any number of ways like nukes or viruses. Yes, but I don't see people putting technology like Cyberpunk 2077 in their bodies. Unless, of course, Elon Tusk is a cybernetic being that we don't know about. But if he is, well, no, if he's cybernetic, he could be he could be an android. He could still procreate. Anyway, Kat says we're actually in a post-apocalyptic world of idiocracy. Definitely the most accurate one. Probably I like it. But who's the smartest man in the world? Definitely not Elon Tusk. The lack of human desperation. You haven't seen my Kirk. Oh, that's funny, Kirk. I like it. I know you're a happily married man there, but I like it. Kirk says you haven't seen him trying to pick up ladies in the bar. That's desperate. Talentna says likes to say we're in a plutocratic oligarchy, and yes, there are real world parallel to the film Idiocracy. Sadly, if you look at the RoboCop 3, there's still real world parallels to that. I mean, just imagine. Who knew that Mike Judge would be a prophet? Beavis and Butthead knew that Mike Judge would be a prophet. Children of Men was such a great movie. I'll have to see it, River. If you're saying it's a great movie, I'll have to watch it. I have not watched Children of Men. I have not watched The Road. But I have seen the others, so I will have to watch Children of Men. Postal Service is already semi-private. They've tried to do this before. It's still a public service. They haven't. It may be semi-private, but it's still. When they privatize it, it'll jump up. The price of a stamp will jump up like to $5 and change and something. They're trying to make it into a money maker instead of a money loser, because the post office, honestly, the post office is. Yeah, go ahead, watch it. I'm trying to have fun with this, and that'd be great. James has been sick since last Sunday. Oh, hope you feel better, James. I know Puffy Cheeto was sick too, and I hope Puffy Cheeto and her family got over their illness. You could see the general public augmenting themselves like that. Okay, I like it. Yes, Chaz, the American voters did ask for it, but some American voters are regretting that decision now, since they got fired from their federal job. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, we just got word, what, the 20th. We there was just a video, and somebody on the Senate floor came out and basically tendered his resignation for 2026, saying that he will not seek an 8th term as senator, and that is the one and only Mitch McConnell. So thank you for that, Chaz. I really do appreciate that. Everybody's been sick. Hope everyone is well. Yes, hope everybody is well. I don't get sick too often, and when I do get sick, I'm only down for like 2 or 3 days. But even if I was sick, I'd still do this right here because it brings joy to you guys. Didn't ask for my job to be harder by changing the Gulf's name. So silly, in my opinion. Well, Puffy, if Mexico gets their way, Google is going to have to change it back, because Mexico is suing Google for the name change, stating that the United States cannot name any of the oceans on the continental shelf right there, because the continental shelf is shared by America, by the United States, Mexico, and Cuba. So your job may get a little harder before it gets a little easier, but it may get a little easier. Stay super healthy until a super cool disease comes along, right? I agree with RoboCop. Yep. All right, so everybody's saying good. Everybody's giving good healths to everybody in the chat. So that was our 4th question, and our 5th question will lead us into chat. And before we get to this, our final question comes from, again, our deranged necromancer, River. And it's another one of those debates questions. And we should really come up with a name for this section. And Chaz, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here because you can give approval or not. As much as I love the D20 debates section that you guys were doing on Man Shorts, that was a Man Shorts thing. And I know we are Man Shorts affiliate. We are not Man Shorts. So we need a new name for these debates if we're going to continue. And let's be honest. I have a lot of these that our deranged necromancer sent in. So we are going to continue with these. And I'm not really turning them into a debate. But we'll get to that in a minute. I threw up a poll into Discord earlier for the name change. So it's shoot out a name for the new title for this next segment, and we'll go through them and we will choose one as a team. But that gave me another idea. We're going to start bracketing these, okay? We're going to put up a poll in the Discord to have a winner chosen of these debates, kind of like what Man Shorts did with D20 debates. But what we're going to do with that is we're going to bracket it. The winners will go into the winners brackets, and the winners will start choosing until we get one final debate winner. And this will go on until we have no more debates or no more battles. So I'm going to, after the show tonight, I'm going to put up a poll in the Discord. You can't vote in the poll if you don't join the Discord, for the winner of the last debate we did 2 weeks ago, which is robots versus zombies. Who do you think won the poll, or who do you think won the battle based on the evidence that I provided, or based on your own opinion? And that will determine the winner of that, who goes on to the next round. I will also put up another poll for the winner of tonight's contested matchup. And with that, let's get on with our matchup. I did roll the dice on this one. Literally, I rolled the dice. Because I couldn't choose which one of the matches that were submitted to me I wanted to do. The dice have spoken. And in round 2, we're going to have Hoplites versus Immortals. I still got to get used to this, to the number pad thing for the switching of the scenes. So let's get on with it. Hoplites. Let's take the Hoplites. Hoplites, the historical background. Hoplites were the citizen soldiers of ancient Greek city-states, particularly Sparta and Athens, from around the 7th to 4th centuries BCE. That stands for before current era. What did they fight with? Armor and weapons. Their armor was heavy bronze armor, including a helmet, breastplate, greaves, and a large round shield, either an aspis or a hoplon. Their weapons. Their primary weapon was the spear, or duro, and they carried a short sword, the xiphos, as a secondary weapon. Their tactics? The phalanx formation. Hoplites fought in tightly packed formation called the phalanx. Soldiers stood shoulder to shoulder, shields overlapping, and spears projecting outwards. Their discipline and cohesion. The strength of the phalanx lie in its discipline, cohesion, and the ability to present a unified front. Their strengths. They were heavily armored, excellent protection against most weapons of the time, and they were formidable in formation. The phalanx was nearly impenetrable when maintained. You could say that the phalanx was the first turtle. Their weakness was limited mobility. The heavy armor and tight formation made maneuvering difficult. And they were vulnerable to flanking. And that was because if the phalanx was outflanked or broken, individual hoplites were more vulnerable. The Immortals. Historical background for the Immortals. The Immortals were an elite force of the Achaemenid Persian Empire, active from around the 6th to the 4th century BC. So the hoplites were around a century prior. Their armor and weapons. They had lighter armor compared to the hoplites, which included scale armor, a cloth or leather tunic, and a wicker shield. Wicker was very penetrable with the hoplites' Persian spear, or with the hoplites' spear. Their weapons, however, also included a spear, bow and arrows, and a short sword or dagger. Their tactics, they were versatile in warfare. The Immortals were capable of both melee and ranged combat. But with the phalanx formation, you launch your arrows into the sky, and it. If you've seen the movie 300, we will darken the sun with our arrows. That phalanx formation saved lives. Constant reinforcement. The unit maintained its strength by immediately replacing any fallen soldier, giving the illusion of immortality. There were a ton of immortals in the Persian Empire. They were a ton, like literal, almost like 300,000 soldiers. Their strengths: mobility. Lighter armor allowed for greater maneuverability and flexibility in battle. And their range attacks, with their proficiency with the bow, provided a ranged advantage over many opponents. Their weaknesses, however, were the light armor, which added less protection compared to heavily armored opponents like the hoplites, and dependence on numbers. Their effectiveness was partly due to their large numbers and constant reinforcement, and that was a weakness. Here's the face-off scenario in a hypothetical battle between hoplites and mortals. The initial engagement, hoplites would form a solid phalanx and advance steadily, presenting a formidable shield wall and a spear front. The range attacks, however, would come from the Immortals. They would likely begin with range attacks using their bows, attempting to weaken the hoplite formation before the close combat. Close combat. Once engaged in melee, the hoplites' heavy armor and disciplined formation would make them tough opponents in a direct clash. Tactics and mobility. The immortals would use their superior mobility to attempt flanking maneuvers, aiming to break the phalanx formation. Outcome considerations. Now this is where this is what we have to consider. The terrain and environment. Open terrain would favor the phalanx, while varied or difficult terrain might benefit the more mobile immortals. Morale and leadership. Strong leadership and high morale could tip the scales for either side. And battle duration. In a prolonged engagement, the immortals' ability to reinforce and maintain numbers could become a decisive factor. However, if you remember the Battle of 300, you bring the immortals into a choke point, your numbers aren't going to matter. You're going to build a wall with the dead. So, while both units had their strengths and unique tactics, the outcome would depend on various factors, including terrain, leadership, and the ability to exploit the opponent's weakness. River, I hope that answers the question for you, and I hope that everybody in the Discord will vote in the poll that I'm about to put up, because that would be an awesome poll. I know who I'm voting for, only because I know who I'm voting for. But let's see what chat said. As I was reading this, I saw the chat moving and moving and moving and moving. So let's go. Would definitely love to see a gladiator style Greek fighter and would choose them over immortals. Puffy Cheeto. This list was created at 4 a.m. and I was very, very stoned. River, when aren't you? Dungeon discussions. I like that, Chaz. I like it. Dungeon debates. Like that too. Let's see. Let's go back up to the top where I lost it. Hey, shameless plug, but I released an AI music album, Music for the End of the World. It's on my YouTube. Chaz, if you send me at Bar Device a pictured album cover and everything, I will showcase it next week on Art Corner. Congratulations for releasing it. I will have to listen to it. It's on your YouTube? Cool. I will have to listen to it. Because I like all of the music you've ever released. I sat there when you released what was it? It wasn't was it the lightning cover? Organized Lightning? Yeah, I sat there when you released Organized Lightning. I sat there and listened to it like immediately, all in one shot. Option 1 stinks. Vote for option 2. No idea what they are. Kirk, there's no options. It's just you guys throw out names and we'll collect them and we'll decide on a group. Puffy Cheeto came up with a couple possible names: Crit Showdown, Banter Brigade, or Banter Burdage, Arcane Arguments. I'm thinking that's supposed to be Banter Brigade, but I like it. Please send good energies. Ruby's heart hasn't been feeling well and having more tests done on Monday. Same here, Ruby. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I had heart palpitations half hour before the show started. I'll tell you, my resting heart rate at that time was like 91. Yeah. And I was just sitting in the chair. Banter Bridge is dope. Okay. Banter Brigade. Got it. Banter Brigade. Cats did throw out Roll Persuasion. Cats likes the name. It is going to be good, Ruby. I second Yazik. It's going to be good. Bodie McBode advice. If only we had that before we came up with Rogue advice. Why did I not? Why'd you not answer, like, why RoboCop 3 specifically? Because RoboCop 3 has everything that we're going through right now. RoboCop 1 really wasn't corporate greed. Neither was RoboCop 2. That was just that was trying to augment the police force with a cybernetically enhanced police officer. However, RoboCop 3 was the corporation was trying to get rid of the police by strictly using robotic police officers. So yeah. But I can go more into depth in Discord on that. Also, debates should have parlay in it. I like adding parlay to that. I like adding that there. Taxes always suck. Hang in there. Yeah. The first list was created. No, we read that. I vote hoplites. Anyone call themselves immortals who aren't actually immortal, not getting my vote. True. And what is worse? What is more demoralizing to an army than to see your God King bleed? 300 was so gas, our arrows will blot out the sun. I mean, did we fight in the shade? Yeah, we fight in the shade. But, I mean, they did really well with the CGI in that movie. I just want to say. The movie was so cool. Watched it in the theater, so good. I didn't see it in the theater, and I'll tell you why. Because when 300 came out, I was fighting in the sun. And I wasn't fighting with bows and arrows. I was fighting with Apache attack helicopters and Chinook helicopters and Blackhawk helicopters and armored tanks and jeeps of any kind. I mean, I was in Iraq when 300 came out. So, with that, we have entered Chat. And I want to start off with Chat with things of the week. Now, we may go a little late tonight. I know it's 1 hour and 5 since we started this, but it's only 10:03, and everybody said the last time if we're having fun, well, at the beginning of this, if we're having fun, we continue on until we're no longer having fun anymore. And I say you don't get old because you stop playing, or you don't stop playing because you get old because you stop playing. So as long as we're not stopping playing, we're not going to get old. Anyway, so let's start off with good things of the week. Now I'm gonna go while everybody types their good things in the week, because what I've got to say is going to sound like I'm a braggart, and especially with everyone in the world struggling to find jobs that are going to sustain them and their families. And if I make you feel bad about that, or upset, or if I come off like I'm bragging, it's not my intent. It's just something good that has happened in the light of everything negative that's been going on. With that being said, I got my final job offer from FEMA for the FEMA position as the historical preservation specialist, or as a historical preservation specialist, with the anticipated start date of March 10th. I'll also be in Kansas starting Sunday for the next week, doing my last fieldwork project for the foreseeable future outside of federal government work. And if I get any time off and make it down from Kansas to OKC, then the pod will happen from the Pirate office. If not, the pod will happen on the road in Kansas. And hopefully, I may stop down Cats. I may come down that way, not going up because of weather situations and stuff, and because that way is actually an hour less travel time than if I went up 35 to Wichita and took Wichita into Kansas City. So, and I know you and I discussed that, so that's tidbits for you. But with that, let's see what other people's good things for the week have been. You're welcome. You're welcome, Yaz. And I am going to be making a TikTok video here shortly, not necessarily today, maybe tomorrow. Because with everything that's been going on in the country today, I don't see a lot of people with my station speaking up against it. So it's not something that I signed up to do when I signed up to fight. And yeah. So if you follow me on TikTok, which I'm not sure many people do, I follow Yazik on TikTok. Don't know if he follows me, but I am ArchaeoPirate on TikTok. So follow me. James. What did James do? James said something. Everybody's saying, oh no, James is saying thanks, or Yazik saying thanks to James, probably for the Yazik creating or publishing his AI album. Good thing, Puffy Cheetos, good thing her youngest finally started PT, physical therapy, so the road to healing is from tearing the main ligament in her elbow. She will be ready for wrestling next season, and she'll be freaking phenomenal at it. I guarantee it. Thank you, Talentna. Katz is actually in Kansas City right now. Well, you're not going to be there Sunday. You told me that. You're going to be back home Sunday. And I'm actually staying. This is funny. I'm staying at the Days Inn I'm staying at the Days Inn by Wyndham at Kansas Speedway. So that's going to be great. I applaud you too. Yes, and thank you for letting me take over as this. This is truly an honor. Cats' good thing of the week. The weather is finally breaking. No longer going to be -9 degrees, and the foot of snow is disappearing. Well, I hope the foot of snow disappears by Monday because I've got 400 something shovel tests to start digging on Monday. Yazik follows me now. Awesome. Hey, check out the last video I posted. I spent 5 hours on CapCut on my computer making that video, and I think it's hilarious. Go back and check the good thing of the week for Yazik. Good thing of the week for Yazik. I had a great interview on Wednesday. Should know if I have the job in next 2 weeks. Good job, Yazik. Put that IT certificate to work. Yes. Happy for you. Happy. Kaz knows right where I'll be. Send me a list of places to eat or things to do while I'm there. I appreciate it. Roads are clear. Casey had barely any. It was all southern Kansas that got hit. Now, you got to also tell me where to stay away from to not get the tuberculosis outbreak that's going on up there. Kirk, same time, the only social media, or at Kirk's same, the only social media Puffy has is Facebook and YouTube. And Kirk doesn't have TikTok. I know that, Kirk. I appreciate the repost on that, Yazik. I really do. The Norse, so the Norse event I talked about happened yet? No. Norse Forge Gathering, and I don't know, can I still do it? Let's see if I can do this, and I can do this. Do I want to screen capture? I have to close everything out so you guys don't see what I'm doing. I could do this. I could do this a lot. So let's do this. Let's do this, and add the source. Add screen capture. And that would be screen 1. As you guys can see, I am still live streaming on my other screen. So let's go over to screen 1 and go to the Norse Forge Gathering 5. New location, new quest, a whole new experience. They did one October of last year, and they're doing one this May 9th through the 11th. For the 5th time, the armies of nerddom will gather D&D, fantasy, TTRPGs, as well as card games, cosplay, costume contest, food, drink, games, music, a creator bazaar, and your favorite nerdy content creators once again gathered in one place. The content, I mean, there's Wheezy, anybody who knows Wheezy, that's Tank. I mean, they have a TTRPGs and card games. They have Magic the Gathering tournaments going on. And like I said, I was told I needed to create a 5th level character for D&D to play at the D&D table. But tickets are available. Remarkable vendors, food and drinks. There will be live performances. There will be live animals, wolves, hawks, falcons, owls, stuff like that. Camping is available. Now, camping is available with a camping pass if you go for the 2 days. If you buy a pass for day 1 and day 2, or if you buy the whole 3-day pass, you get early admission on the 9th, and you get the camping included. But that ticket's like $123. But it's May 9th through 11th, 2025 in New London, North Carolina. There will be a King's Feast that will go on. That's going on on the 9th for all the early admission people. It may happen on the 10th as well, but the 11th is closing day. There's interactive adventures. There's going to be there's going to be full on armored battles and stuff. There's going to be LARPing. It's going to be great, guys. It's going to be great. So it's just going to be phenomenal. And I was lucky enough to get my wife to allow me to go. So, but with that being said, that all depends if I can take time off from the new job working for FEMA, because that job has me deployed 320 plus days a year to a disaster emergency relief area to help the communities mitigate and protect historic sites that may or may not have been damaged or could be damaged in the future by natural and other disasters. I'm hoping. Yeah, I know it's less than 7 hours from you guys. That's why I was planning on starting next week to start promoting it in our little promotion corner. And I know it's 5 to 6 hours to drive from Kirk, but here's the thing: it's like 15-hour drive from me. 15 to 17-hour drive from me. And if I go down south to Texas to pick somebody up to take him, then it's like 19 hours. So, yeah. Yeah, it's like, but if you can go, show up. We'll meet up. I'm hoping I win the costume contest. So, usually new jobs don't like taking time off. However, with the FEMA job, because I'm deployed 320 days plus a year, the times that I'm not deployed, I'm here in my home office. So, and with it being a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'll have to drive out on Thursday. Because while I have done long 26-hour drives nonstop before, I don't really want to drive that distance in one shot. But what I'm hoping is that I can ask the FEMA office if my deployment can start after that, like a week or so after that. If not, I'm hoping I can get deployed to somewhere in North Carolina, or somewhere close to North Carolina, because I know there's freaking disasters there, and I don't work on the weekends, so it'd be worth it just to meet people. Absolutely, it would. And I was going because I had friends of mine on TikTok who I follow, who follow me, who we are in the same career field, who are interested in all of this and everything. And he unfortunately can't make it this year or this go around because he was one of the people that got fired on Friday the 14th of February. And he was in an archaeology position in the Nez Perce National Forest up in Montana. So, but hopefully, but what I was saying with the taking time off, if I have to, because this is not my first time in the federal service, I'm not a probationary employee. I am a full-time employee, even though this job is a 2-year temporary job, with the possibility of it being permanent, of it become permanent after 2 years. I'd have to again apply for it. I have time. I have sick leave time that comes back to me. Or is it sick leave time or is it annual leave time? I think I have annual leave time. No, I get paid for annual. I don't get paid for sick leave. Sick leave stays in the bucket. When I go back to my federal job, I have like 60 to 80 hours of sick leave time that I can take. They just have to add it back in. And like I said, my start date's March 10th. And with that being said, I'll be in Alabama, in Anniston, Alabama for a week doing orientation. So it's just a click of a button for them to add my sick leave back in. Yazik, I'm fixing to head off too. Thanks for stopping in tonight. Go and watch go watch the VOD. Much love to Ruby. I'm going to second that. Much love to Ruby, River, James, Taletna, Kirk, Kaz, anyone. And with that being said, we're gonna go through our extro or our outro, if you will. We've come to the end of the program, everyone. I'd like to take the time to shout out big thanks to everyone who sent in questions this week and last week, because let's face it, some of these questions I have stockpiled. Please remember to do so for our next week. As always, we would like to remind everyone of the email. It is roguebardadvice@gmail.com. It looks like roguebardadvice@gmail.com. And please continue to like, share, subscribe, comment, turn on those notifications so you will know when we go live. Also join the Discord. And perk of joining the Discord, I said this last week, if you don't have your notifications on TikTok or on YouTube turned on, the Discord with Pinkcord already notifies you that we are live. And you're in the Discord, and you get to have fun, and you get to have behind-the-scenes interactions with all of us. So, with that, I am the Pirate Archaeologist, and wherever you are, wherever you go, remember one thing. Take what you can. Give nothing back. And I bid ye